asking 30 of Micheal Jordan's teammates their thoughts on the true MJ. This video looks at every single season of MJ's career, and 2 of Jordan's teammates from those years will talk about Jordan in that season. With the name of Micheal Jordan, you will find some teammates that have positive things to say about him and others who have not so nice things to say about him. But that is...
You talked about, unfortunately, missing out on those championship years, but I think even more fascinating for us is understanding what Micheal was like coming in as a rookie in those early years with the Bulls. What did you see that you felt like was part of what made Micheal Jordan who he is?
I'm like, fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a hell of a ride. You just knew it from day one.
Just any other rookie coming out of college. He was very respectful of elders, coaches, anybody in authority position. He was just a rookie coming in ready to learn and earn his position in the league. He didn't come in with an attitude or feel that he was better than anybody else. My first 5 years with Micheal there, we hadn't won a championship yet. So in some ways, it was a different environment, but I think as a person deep down, he was the same person.
Did he talk trash to you, Mike? Was he a respectful guy to the big man?
Yeah, he never said anything bad towards me. I always, got along with him well. And, he was just very, very, very intense. The thing that you remember about Micheal was that every second, whether it was practice or a game, he was all out.
They traded him for George Gervin, who was the highest paid Bull on that team.
I started with Dr. J and I finished with Micheal.
That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Both them brothers played so hard, man. I mean, in practice and in the game.
The most competitive person, and he gave everything every second.
Once he crossed that line, he was a maniac. He loved to practice. He came at you at practice. We took him out. I mean, we physically beat the hell out of him, and he took it. But he did some things in practice that were amazing. He really worked hard in practice. So the games for him were pretty much easier than practices were.
Mm-hmm. But we ate a lot of McDonald's back then. MJ ate McDonald's for every morning for breakfast.
Word.
Every morning he ate McDonald's. Yeah.
Sound like Ocho Cinco.
Yeah.
If it works. Right.
And before game, he eat a steak before every game.
A steak? A whole steak?
Before every game.
Damn, that's heavy. Boss.
Probably got more cool because we was somewhere and MJ and a guy got into it. I mean, it was real messy. So it was about a bill. So once you pick the check up, MJ, nigga, you get a check too. Fuck that, you pick it up. So they went at it and that. So it was like a lot of tension. So they almost got in a fight. And I'm like, man, y'all need to cut it out, this and that, man. You're like, he get a check. You been in the league before me. So it was a lot of that, and they got all them guys out of there and took 2 or 3 years, but then he got to start running the team his way, and you see what happened.
In the early years, Micheal had a very difficult time, but just an extraordinary talent. He was scoring an awful lot of points. Well, it was pretty obvious that Micheal was turned into just a special individual. Yeah.
He demands perfection. Probably the toughest thing about working with Micheal is he's a workaholic. He never stops. So from the morning until late at night, he's motivated to always be challenged and be the best, and he carries that throughout his whole staff.
I mean, I saw the best defenders in the league get shredded. Shredded. This kid here was the greatest. And I'm including Kareem in his heyday. I call Wilt in his tail end. I said, he's the greatest, right? I said, can't you tell from these highlights? I said, can't you just see? He was shredding people like it was nobody's business, right?
One time, I can recall me and BJ sitting on the bench, and we're sitting on the end of our chairs, and Micheal gets a move, baseline. The defender is here. That's out of bounds. MJ is facing him here. And somehow, he was able to go around, plant here, get here, and go up and dunk the basketball. So for me, some of the stuff that he would do would be almost superhuman from a standpoint that how can you make a pivot when he would turn so sharp, you would see his shoe almost come off. Literally. where he would turn a corner on the baseline and you would see this happen, and the next movement was a powerful thrust enough to dunk on somebody. That's incredible to me.
I just don't understand how he did that night after night. And then how intense he was at practice the next day.
Was it just Bushler and like Steve Kerr? Was he just beating up the little white boys? Let's be honest.
No, he beat up a big white boy, Will Perdue.
Got Will Perdue here on the Rich Eisen show. You fought him, right? You had a fight with Jordan in a practice, correct?
Yes. I hate to tell the story, but you know, Will and I still good friends.
Listen, Will, you got beat up by Michael Jordan. It's cool.
What happened? What happened?
You know, typical Phil, running this play.
So we kept running this one play where I was setting screens on him. Got pretty good shots, as they say in the day. I was laying some wood.
And Will set a legal pick on MJ. MJ said, Will, don't do it again.
One time I hit him pretty hard. He bounced up off the floor, and he said, listen, you do that again, I'm going to punch you. He used a little more colorful language. Mm-hmm. So as soon as that happened, Johnny Bach, who was the assistant coach that set up our defensive schemes, immediately yelled, run it again.
MJ said, all right. Phil said, run it again. So naturally ran it 2 more times, legal pick.
So I thought to myself, hey, man, if I'm going to get punched by this guy, which I still didn't think he was going to do it, I'm going to make sure I get my money's worth. So I made sure it was an illegal screen. I don't think I ever stopped. I just ran right through him. Knocked his ass to the ground. He got up and immediately just turned around and hauled off and swung at me. And
boom! Lit him up. It was over.
But again, it wasn't like it turned into a debacle. Once I realized what happened, I kind of started to step towards him. Eddie Neely, who was on the team at the time, grabbed me from behind and just kind of said, oh, big boy, that's probably not a good idea. And then the other thing was we just, settled down, continued to practice. It wasn't like they separated practice and, oh, that's it, we're done. You guys got to go in a room and hash it out. We just kept practicing. That stuff happened a lot more than people think. But it was refreshing when we played games on those Bulls teams because of how competitive and how hard we went at it in practice.
Will Perdue here on the Rich Eisen show. Did you have to have that environment, you think, in order to win as much as you did? I mean, was it necessary?
That type of atmosphere wouldn't work now. And maybe it wouldn't because people are different. Personalities are different. Egos are different. But the one thing I can always say is people are like, oh, he was a tyrant. I never looked at it that way. I thought he was a guy that was trying to motivate his teammates. You had to adapt to his style.
MJ had this philosophy, I'm the best. And no one is going to tell me that I'm not the best. And that's having that competitive spirit.
Michael Jordan was a scorer first, second, and third. He was a phenomenal finisher of the game. And what I mean by that is Michael Jordan stopped playing the game. He stopped having to facilitate. He didn't have to do all those things. He just finished the game. He finished it. He was, I think, the game's greatest finisher because he had no weakness in his game.
So my moment was watching him play 35, 40 minutes and then come to practice with the same energy.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute. Now, this isn't normal. Now,
and maybe not much sleep.
No, Rex is being kind with no sleep. Okay. His true gift, Rex, as Rex knows, his true gift, which we don't want to say what Rex can put it in kind. He can explain it. I'm just going to say it and let Rex explain it.
His true gift
if
was,
the man
was hanging out.
If he would have slept, we don't know how good he really would have been. We didn't see the best of Michael Jordan because he didn't sleep for 14 years. Okay. Yeah. Literally. Okay. I'm not like, this isn't like a little sleep. He literally didn't sleep. I've never seen a guy practice this hard. And that's what we should be showing the kids because we're just showing them the games when the lights were on. This guy would, I've never seen someone this competitive and it's always on.
I mean, who goes out and you're up 20 and you're still playing the game if the score was tied? But he did that.
You ready? When I was in college, I was a big Michael Jordan fan.
For Oklahoma at center, a 6'10" junior from Lawton, Oklahoma, number 33, Stacey King.
I had a poster of Michael Jordan on my wall. So when I would go to the game, I would actually rub the poster, one time, sometimes twice if I wanted to have a really, really good game. And I'd go out and score 30, 40. And so I always attributed touching MJ's poster brought me luck. So then How ironic I get drafted by the Bulls. So my first game, come in, I felt like I didn't need the poster anymore because I got Micheal Jordan next to me now. I remember going out getting ready to go shoot. Michael was had his shirt off. He's had his North Carolina shorts on, so he's in the middle of getting dressed, which is kind of awkward if you think about this story I'm going to tell you. I start to walk out and I go, wait, you know what? I used to touch his poster. I think I'm gonna touch him. What luck with that? That'll be really awesome because I get to touch the real guy now, and that'll bring me luck. So I walk over to MJ. He's, his shirt's off. He's got his back turned to me. He's in his North Carolina shorts. He's getting dressed. And I walk over and I rub him twice. Now that I look back on it, it was kind of awkward. So he looks at me. He's like, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh man, I used to touch your poster when I was in college. Man, it used to bring me luck." He said, "Man, get away from me, dude. Don't be doing that." I'm like, and I didn't think it was weird at the time, but then I looked back and I said, "Oh yeah, that might have been a little bit crossing the line." But after that, I didn't have to touch him anymore. He said, "Don't ever touch me again. I'm on your team." So I'm like, okay, cool. But your mind tells you, it's a mind thing. You got to believe in something.
All right, we were in practice, going out, we were scrimmaging, and it was a timeout. And Michael walked over to me. He said, "The ball gonna go into Stacey King. I'm gonna steal it and go down and dunk." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, all right." So we go back on the court. Ball went down a couple times. Then I looked at Michael, did like this. Give him in the face. The next play, the ball went to Stacey King. He spun middle and then came back baseline. Michael stole it, went down and dunked it, and did like this to me. So it was like, he's one of those guys who's played the game in his mind several times over and over. It's like he's been there before. And, I always say, playing with Michael, it's like he's in a time warp that he's just come back, time travel, come back and play the game to go back forward, to play some more, to come back to play some more, show you guys, this is what I know. He knew every play that was going to happen before it was played.